Assembled guests, please stand. Their Excellencies, the Right Honourable Dame Cindy Kello, Governor-General of New Zealand, and Dr. Richard Davis.
Te honore he gloria he maungarongo ki runga ki te mato te whenua. Te whakara pai ki ngā tangata katoa. Arohaina ngā taina, me ngā tuakana, e noho nei rungi te whakara kotahi, pai mari.
Please be seated. E ngā mana, e ngā reo, e ngā iwi o ngā hau e whā, tēnei aku mihi mahana ki o koutou. Kia ora tātou katoa. Distinguished guests, it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the Christchurch Town Hall today for our investiture ceremony. I'd like to specifically acknowledge Mr. Joe Harawira, Kaumātua, and Mrs. Rānui Ngārimu, Kuia. Hosting investiture ceremonies is one of the most important duties I perform on behalf of Her Majesty the Queen of New Zealand. I'm delighted to bring together such an extraordinary group of New Zealanders. You have each brought pride and a greater sense of well-being to Aotearoa New Zealand through your outstanding achievements and your service to our communities. On behalf of all New Zealanders, I extend my sincerest thanks to you for your contributions. After each recipient is honoured, I invite you to join with me in congratulating them. Mr. Ward Kamo will now summon the recipients and read their citations.
Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of an Officer of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Professor John Simpson of Christchurch for services to art education. Professor John Simpson was head of the University of Canterbury's School of Fine Arts for more than 30 years, driving a modernisation of the art education on offer. He was Vice President and a Council member of the Canterbury Society of Arts. He served on the board of the Queen Elizabeth II Arts Council. He was a Chief Examiner of School Certificate and University Entrance Practical Art, introducing the Bauhaus option into the art history curriculum. He co-founded the Design Association of New Zealand and served on the executive. He was a member of government-appointed design committees for decimal coinage and banknotes, and the Advisory Council for the selection of New Zealand postage stamps. Professor Simpson has given works from his collection to Christchurch Gallery, Te Puna o Waihetu. Professor John Simpson, please come forward.
very much. Thank you very much for looking after me so nicely. You're very welcome. Thank you.
This is small token of appreciation for you. It's really good. Art. And artists will turn you around and just face the photographer. So we can get our best shot. There you go. Photogenic.
Ms. Laura Thompson of Invercargill for services to Paralympic cycling. Laura Thompson is a sighted pilot for paracyclists. Following the London Olympics, she began a partnership with paracyclist Emma Foy. The pair won gold with a world record in the pursuit at the 2014 UCI Paracycling Track World Championships. They competed in the 2016 UCI Paracycling Track World Championships in the women's B 3-kilometre pursuits, winning their third consecutive world title. They competed at the Rio de Janeiro Paralympic Games, winning silver in the women's B individual pursuit and bronze in the women's B road race. Ms. Thompson retired from competing with 10 World Championship medals and 5 Paralympic medals and has transitioned to coaching, sharing her knowledge with other coaches and aspiring para-athletes and pilots as Paracycling National Development Coordinator with Paralympics New Zealand. Ms. Laura Thompson, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the insignia of a member of the New Zealand Order of Merit, Mr. Siale Faitotonu of Christchurch for services to Pacific education. Mr. Siale Faitotonu established Whiunga Maliere Language Nest at Rowley School in Christchurch. He initiated a Pan-Pacific ECE to serve West Christchurch following earthquake displacement of Pasifika families. He established a Tongan language homework program through Kahoa Doleva Christchurch Trust and helped establish a computer skills program for students and parents involved in the program. He translates education material into Tongan and developed resources for non-Pasifika ECE teachers. As no Christchurch school could support NCEA Leo Wakatonga levels 1 through 3, he established an after-school tutoring program for students. Mr. Faitotonu is involved with a Pacific Education Leadership course and the Minister of Education's Pacific Advisory Board for Educational Renewal of Christchurch. Mr. Siale Faitotonu, please come forward. Mrs. Lala Fraser of Dunedin for services to conservation. Lala Fraser has continued her involvement with Save the Otago Peninsula since her retirement 14 years ago. She took responsibility for the operational management of the Department of Conservation Every Scientific Reserve and campaigned for Dunedin City Council's purchase of a 328-hectare block now managed by the Hereweka, a harbour cone trust for landscape, cultural, recreational and ecological purposes. She was inaugural chair of the trust and has organised year-round working bees for the planting of Indigenous trees in the Smiths Creek catchment. She edited and coordinated the publication of Otago Peninsula Birds, a pocket guide. Mrs. Fraser was a founding trustee and has continued with the Yellow-Eyed Penguin Trust. Mrs. Lala Fraser, please come forward. Mr. Bosinai Mavaenga and Ms. Tania Muangututia of Auckland for services to Pacific Performing Arts. Bosinai Mavaenga and Tania Muangututia have been integral members of the community-based performing arts group Pacific Underground for 28 years. They delivered 10 Christchurch Pacific Arts festivals and volunteered at many community events. They have attended Womex International Music Expos and Festivals of Pacific Arts, Festpac. They have worked in Christchurch and Auckland across theatre, major events and national winery and concert tours. They have collaborated with more than 500 Indigenous artists and have held artists' residencies. Ms. Muangututia and Mr. Mavaenga continue to create and support emerging artists at Why Not, Number 3 Roskell Theatre, Kia Mau Festival, and Pacific Underground's new online audio collection. Mr. Bosinai Mavaenga and Ms. Tania Muangututia, please come forward. Your Excellency, to receive the Queen's Service Medal, Mr David Bullock of Leaston for services to bowls administration. David Bullock is President of the Canterbury Indoors Bowls Association. This was an especially difficult position following the Christchurch earthquakes due to the extensive damage that the association suffered. He is chair of the Hornby Workingmen's Club Indoor Bowls section and has been president and secretary of the Ellesmere Bowls Club. He has organised 2 New Zealand Chartered Clubs national bowls tournaments and won local and regional awards as a bowls player. He is also a national bowls umpire. Mr Bullock is a life member of the Canterbury Indoor Bowls Association and the Ellesmere Bowling Club. Mr David Bullock, please come forward. Your Excellency, the investiture has concluded.
New Zealand's honours system is our highest public affirmation of outstanding individual achievement. It reinforces those things that make our society better: service, manaakitanga, and the pursuit of excellence. To our recipients, it has been a privilege to hear your stories. You have each used your talents and abilities to improve the lives of fellow New Zealanders and our natural world. In doing so, you embody the spirit of the whakatauki. Whaia te iti kahurangi, ki te tū ohu koe me he maunga teitei. Seek the treasure that you value most dearly. If you bow your head, let it be to a lofty mountain. I urge recipients to wear your insignia with pride at every opportunity, knowing that you inspire others by your example. On behalf of the Queen of New Zealand and all New Zealanders, I congratulate you on your achievements and thank you again for your service to our country. Kia ora, huhi tātou katoa. Now you will see on the back of your program the words for the national anthem in te reo Māori and in English. I now invite you to stand with me and join me in singing the national anthem.